Hi guys, it's Mr. Morris here, and I just want to take a minute to kind of talk to you quickly about what it is we're talking about. We're talking about taking notes in our project packet. Now, Mr. Schlueter and Mrs. Stickert-Sturt's been talking about how to take notes and reading and how to get the main idea and then bullet note those main ideas underneath what the information is talking about. So I just want to take a moment to kind of talk further about it here in the packet. So right here, I've kind of already filled it out for the most part. We have our research packet, page one, and it says my thesis statement. So I wrote, and I'm doing term limits, let's say, term limits in government is a good thing. That is my claim. That is my thesis, my argument. Okay. Now, the first thing says, is your research medium is Wikipedia or a website? So I went with a website. So what I did was I went into Google and I literally typed in why term limits would be good in government. And several pages come up. And one of the pages I'm going to use, and I'll show it to you in a second, came up, is called ourgeneration.org term limits. And then the subheading of that is why do we need term limits? So let me go to that page right now. So I'm going to click over to that page. Here I am on the page that I found. And the page that I found is this one here, Changing the World, Term Limits. And as you can see up here at the top, it says ourgeneration.org. So I'm going to read through this. And I'm going to briefly see what it says. Let's see here. Changing the world. Okay, whatever. Term limits. Yep, that's what I'm talking about. I want term limits. Term limits are one of the many issues our generation is passionate about. What are term limits? Well, if I don't know, I should probably read this. But it goes on to talk about term limits being a way of giving people a certain amount of time to get their job done before letting somebody else now have a chance. But here's what I really want. Why do we need term limits? Okay, so that is the subheading that I want. So let me go back to our election packet. Let me click on that. So here I am back in our election packet. I'm going to type under subheading, I'm going to type in why do we need term limits? Because that's what it said on that page. That's my subheading. Now, let me take a look at the first chunk. As you can see, I've already kind of filled it in to save time. But let's go back to that web page and see what it looks like. So I'm going to click back on our web page. And here we go. Why do we need term limits? Well, there's a lot of information here, and I'm going to chunk it out. I like the way Mrs. Schlueter and Mrs. Dickert-Sturt say chunk out the information. So I'm going to do that. Here's the first thing I'm going to do. Looks like it's kind of broken down for me. That's kind of easy. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to highlight this because I'm going to be honest with you. It's kind of hard to read some of these things. I'm not really sure what corruption means. There's some words in here I'm not sure of. So I'm going to go to Rewordify. Now, to save time, I've already gone to Rewordify, but I'm going to, of course, click and I'm going to copy and then I'm going to go to Rewordify. And I've already done this, so bear with me. So I go to Rewordify and here it is. I put it in there and I hit figure it out, submit text. Term limits can help break the cycle of dishonest actions that ruin your trust in Congress. Okay, so basically it's saying here the case studies show that the longer people stay in office, the more likely they are to stop serving the public and start serving their own interests. Okay, fair enough. I'm going to go back to my project packet and I'm going to enter chunk one. So here I am back in my project packet, and the main part, term limits break the cycle of bad people in office. The first thing I want to talk about is research shows the longer people are in office, the less they care about serving, right? The public. I should probably put the public in there. And then the second part, the longer people in office, the more they care about their own interests. They care about themselves. Okay, fair enough. Now I got a second chunk to go through. So let's go back to my website that I found, okay? All right, here we are back on our website. And take a look at this. Here's chunk two. It's a little bit bigger. Oh, I think I copied a little bit more than I needed to. Let's go back here to chunk two. Boom. It's a big chunk. I'm once again going to copy that. And I'm going to go to Rewordify because there's some words in there I'm not really sure. I don't really know what recognition means or incentive. I don't know what that means. So I'm going to go to Rewordify. And as you already figured out, I already did it. So I'm going to click on it. Here we are on Rewordify with chunk two. Term limits encourage regular people, lawful people living in our state and country, to run for office. Okay, that sounds pretty good. Now, there is a high reelection rate in the House and the Senate. And because of that, the recognition is not usually easy to get into. Okay, so even though people have term limits, it's easy for them to get reelected, it says. Okay, so just because you want to get a position in the House or Senate, it doesn't mean you're going to get it right away. You got to wait for somebody to get completely done with their terms. So let's see how we chunk that out. Let's go back to our notes. Okay, so I wrote here in chunk 2. Term limits encourage regular people to run for office, but it is hard to get in. And here's my notes, right? Here's my bullets. It's tough to get reelected in Congress, though. 94% of the people in the House get reelected because of their name recognition, but 83% of those in the Senate get reelected too. So it's not easy to get reelected or to get elected to somebody who's running again for another term limit. But once their term is up, once they have had their couple of term limits in, and it's 3, then I get a chance to run. So hopefully I can get support. But let's take a look at what we just did with our notes. We wrote down our thesis statement. Good. We did a little reading. I typed in, why are term limits good? And I found a website that I typed in here. I found the subheading there, why do we need term limits? And I took and I chunked the first piece and put it in Rewordify. Here's what the main part is. Then I put down some pieces here that helped prove this. And then I went to chunk 2 and I went to Rewordify. This is what I got from it. And then I found these 3 pieces to put here as my bullets. And what I'm doing is I'm building an argument for term limits in government is a good thing. So now I have a first part of my notes. I've used Wikipedia, okay? I've used another website. This is the other website. I found a book, let's say. I found another website. I watched a movie. And every time I do this, I'm filling this in my notes and I'm chunking it and putting down the bullet notes to help me explain and to prove my case. Term limits in government is a good thing. Okay? If you have any questions on this, let myself, Mr. Caldestall, Mrs. Schlueter, or Mrs. Dickett-Sturtz, let us know if you have questions. But this is what we're looking for you to do. And if you can get the main idea and put down the bullets, then you are going to do a very good job on this research paper. Okay? Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys again soon. Bye.